Hi, I'm Joe Walensky, and I'm the program manager for Seattle's annual user experience conference called ConveyUX, and that's produced by BlinkUX. And we've been doing it for 6 years. We're going into the 7th one coming up March 11th, 12th, and 13th. And I get a chance to talk with our many presenters that will be at the conference. And so today I am happy to be speaking with Bill Flora. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hi. How's it going?
Well, I'm in the Blink offices on the Seattle waterfront. Where are you at today?
I'm in the Blink offices at the Seattle waterfront as well, but in a different location than you are.
Yeah, so it's good to be talking to you, even though we see each other every day, and great to have you as part of the program. And you've been involved in design for a long time. You've got a lot of things that make up your resume, but why don't you talk a little bit about some of the highlights that you think some of our attendees might be interested in?
Sure. Well, I guess one way to talk about it is I'm a 20-year veteran at Microsoft, shipping lots of consumer-oriented products over the years, starting off with what ended up being one of my favorites, which is Encarta Encyclopedia. It no longer exists, but it was a big deal at the time, and that really kind of shaped my thoughts and foundations on design, bringing content to life, developing new ways to discover content, bringing content to the surface of an experience. A lot of those foundations for me were built in designing that product over a number of years. I went on to lead design for Windows Media Center and Zune, if anyone remembers Zune Music Service, and Xbox console. And probably the highlight of my career there was taking all those experiences that had a certain design philosophy and approach and try to unify the design language for Microsoft based on that philosophy. It started with Windows Phone, and we used a lot of the thinking behind Zune and even Encarta to develop the Metro design language. And it's primarily about just good graphic design principles, but also thinking about interaction design and motion design in a holistic way. So at the time, I think it was pretty fresh and new. It was at the time when Apple was doing skeuomorphic design, making shiny buttons shinier and glassy floors glassier. This was a very classic communication design centric approach to software. So once that started getting established across the company, and after 20 years, that was a great time to leave. I started my own company, Tectonic, with the goal of doing the things that I did at Microsoft, like creating envisioning pieces. And that was by far the most impactful type of work that I did. I just didn't get to do it very often. But with Tectonic, the goal was to do that all the time. And it was a wonderful experience. But I found that a lot of what I did, it was difficult to validate it. It wasn't necessarily grounded on user. It was more envisioning a next generation. So when merging with Blink became an opportunity, I thought it's perfect to bring these two skills together, kind of chocolate and peanut butter, envisioning and evidence-based design, and how to bring those two things together, which can create something greater than the sum of the parts.
Well, it's certainly been a lot of exciting synergy with what you and the Tectonic crew have brought into Blink. You're always seem like you're doing a million things every week, but are there any new things, new ideas that you've been noodling about, or anything that you're particularly passionate about right now?
Well, with Blink and merging into Blink, I would say that establishing a really strong design process and foundation, taking some traditional Blink processes and tectonic processes, finding which combination of those really work, introducing critiques and brainstorms and those things that we would use in envisioning, and combining that with some of those insights that we can gain, and developing a process here. So that's one. Two is working with Blink to reposition the company, rebrand, remessage, now that we have new capabilities to add to the mix and a new story to tell. That's another core foundation, I think, for us, processes and just being able to present ourselves so we can start to land some of those projects that can utilize both.
Well, for your talks at the conference, you're going to be working with one of our other Blink colleagues, Geoff Harrison. I'll be talking with him in another interview, but you'll both be working together on a keynote session and also a half-day workshop. Why don't we talk a little bit about that keynote session that you're going to be doing with Geoff. The title of that is Elevate Your Product Design by Unifying UX and Brand Strategies. So give us a little bit of a taste of what we can expect from that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an embodiment of a lot of what I was describing, bringing these two different approaches together, and they each help each other. So I think our goal is to impart our learnings from bringing those together, talk about the advantages of it, show some examples of how when they go together, something greater than the sum of the parts can happen. And I think it's part of the future of design, how we approach. So what I mean by integrating brand values in with user insights, I think a big solid foundation is research and user insights, but they really empower the big ideas to happen and provide validation and confidence that the direction is correct. But often if you just look at that it might not be very expressive, or you're leaving other things on the table. Oftentimes companies have big values. They want to differentiate themselves from others out there, and they want to differentiate themselves in a way that is them, that is authentic. So working with them to zero in on their brand values, it could be, for example, personalization is very important to them, or flexibility, or it could be things like, oh, we're very expressive and we want people to have fun when they use our products. So it's taking some of that emotional component, and which is often expressed in visual design and motions, but also it's finding signature experiences that really speak to that brand and that company. What are those experiences that we create that we really want to get an A+ on, that really reflect what that company wants to get across? I think when you consider that alongside considering the user pain points and opportunities, it becomes a stronger solution. In addition to insights and brand values, of course, is also trends that are happening out there, business goals. So it's the ability to, elevate the experience when you consider a larger matrix of inputs.
Well, I know that this idea about unifying UX and brand is something that comes up in discussions that I hear at meetups all the time, and so this is very timely, and we'll look forward to hearing you talk about it with Geoff at the conference.
Great. Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Hey, sure. Thanks. See you later.